Just talking a little bit more about the dollar moves that we've seen. I know you've talked to us last time about the dollars being a crowded trade. This is just going too strong. We have a chart that shows, even when it comes to positioning now, these dollar bears are drying up as well. In fact, we're actually net longs now. After the strong U.S. jobs report, are you kind of rethinking about your short dollar call?
Well, we did say a few weeks ago that, look, there is a sense of dominance that is playing out in the dollar's favor. And we can see that in terms of the price action. It's just very much grinding higher versus a lot of different currencies. So I think a lot of people have come to the realization this is not just a function of an initial positioning squeeze in the aftermath of the June Fed meeting. I mean, there's other forces that are very much at play. And I think that this theme of divergent monetary policy is just being more and more emphasized, whether we're thinking about the ECB or PBOC, et cetera. And that's been playing into the dollar's buoyancy lately.
All right. The big one, I guess, emerging markets might be asking, just given the strong correlations to China, the economy flows, what have you, Paul, your latest forecast here on dollar China.
We haven't changed our view. That is end of year. 6.6 makes very much a lot of sense to us. I mean, we've had this view, again, for a long time. I think this is where the exchange rate is heading. Again, it's divergent monetary policy. You have a cyclical slowdown happening in China, and the U.S. is still showing a lot of upward momentum. So that plays to the exchange rate to be going up, not down.
And what does it mean for exchange rates of the likes of Taiwan and Korea? Typically, not all the time, but typically tend to move alongside dollar China, Paul.
Well, that's a very good question, and it's something we've been exploring for quite a long time. There's clearly going to be some sensitivity in terms of how the renminbi performs. So if we're right in our thinking that there can be some modest weakness, there will be some collateral impact for other Asian currencies. And you rightly point out the ones that can be quite sensitive to that, the Korean won, Taiwan dollars. So yes, we are looking for those to be weakening as well. For the most part, we are looking for dollar Asia to be drifting higher over the next couple of quarters.
Out of those renminbi proxies, you actually like the Sing dollar the most, which is standing out from the likes of ASEAN. Why, Paul?
Well, I think it's been pretty well recognized in terms of where Singapore is in terms of its economic cycle. You're going through this herd immunity is very much within reach. Could this play to the advantage of the currency in terms of reopening and growth expectations? I think there is a semblance of truth to that, but we have to be a little bit careful here. Is it really enough to be able to outperform the dollar in the current environment? Probably not. The way that I would favor it is to like the Singapore dollar versus some other Asian currencies, particularly the ones in the ASEAN region, which are still struggling with a very sluggish growth environment.
And Paul, everyone's looking at key data, key events now to kind of get the timing of the Fed tapering right. What do you have to look for? Do you need a few more jobs reports first to kind of solidify the view that the Fed is probably on that path now, or is it all about Jackson Hole now?
I think it's a foregone conclusion of that, that they're going to start tapering. People keep debating when it's going to happen, but it's done. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they're going to happen in September. They've maybe communicated either at Jackson Hole or at the September meeting. But I think the main message right now that all of us have to be thinking about is the pace. Is it going to happen very fast, or is it going to be slower and measured? And I think that's where I think that the policy language from the Fed is going to be becoming increasingly influential.